Welcome back, storytellers. Today we have the first installment in what I hope will be an exciting new show. It's going to be sporadically fit in between the other storytelling segments, and it's called Writing on the Run. We're going to be talking about gadgets that can help you write wherever you are, and maybe go out and show you some of the places that I write at and get inspiration from. But today we're going to be talking about this right here. It's called the AlphaSmart Neo 2. Maybe you've heard of it, maybe you haven't. But we're going to take it out for a test drive and see if it's for you. My name is Robert Jones, and this is what's coming up on the Story Detective. So what the heck is an AlphaSmart Neo, you may be asking yourself? Well, it was designed back in 1992 by two ex-engineers from Apple. That's pretty apparent in the command key and the layout of the keyboard. But not to worry for Windows users, because this thing works with anything that you can plug into a USB port. And it works pretty darn well. I've had mine for a while. It was designed for typing classes. It was also for kids that had impaired motor skills. But for our intents and purposes as writers, what this does is it's a word processing unit. It's basically just a keyboard with a word processor built into it, and that's all you can do. So for distraction-free writing, it's amazing. It's also very cheap. I got mine for $27, and that included shipping. Distraction-free writing is something that's very big and growing because writers have problems staying away from their email, the internet, everything that's on a computer. So there's a growing industry for products that are going to create that experience. Now there's things that are coming out like the Free Writer, and it's kind of retro. It has a mechanical keyboard with cherry switches, and it has a price tag of $550. Did anyone else just hear breaking glass in their brain? My personal problem with all this distraction-free writing stuff is if you're gonna spend $500, you could just get an inexpensive laptop and just not hook it up to the internet, use it to do your writing, and then you'd have all that functionality and just plug a flash drive in and save your writing, and then you'd have it. I have a lot of writing programs that are outdated, and I was thinking of getting an old used laptop to use it just for that. But if you're into the distraction-free mode and you want something cheap, I mean, $27. I mean, think of how many of these you could buy with $500. So what this does is it gives you a full-sized keyboard and about 50,000 words to fit into its memory. There's 8 files listed. All you have to do to get those files is press File 1, File 2 through 8. You can save more files in the memory. Some people have said it's limited to the 8 files of about 10 pages each, which is totally untrue. I've had files in here more than 8 to 10 pages, and it held it just fine. At 50,000 words, I think you could put 50,000 words into one file if you wanted to. I've never got beyond 40, 50 pages before I transferred it to my computer, and I'll show you how to do that momentarily. There's a simple on-off switch here. There's no booting time, there's nothing. You hit the switch, it comes on immediately. You select the file that you want to type in, and you start typing. There's nothing else that you can do on this except type. There is a switch over here for applets. Now, if you have kids that are in school that might need help with math, there is some math apps that you can get from Renaissance Learning, which is the company that took this over. There's also a user's manual for this, and I will leave the links in the description below. But for a writer, everything you need to know is written on the back, which is basically how to transfer all of this to your computer. And we're going to run a demonstration in just a few minutes. I've watched some other videos and reviews that had questions and concerns that people really didn't address. I don't think they used it enough to figure out whether those concerns were legitimate or not. I've used this for a while. Now, the one concern is durability. This thing is built like a tank. I mean, it's going to survive the apocalypse. If you have this in your backpack and the zombie apocalypse happens to fall, well, you've got a keyboard and you're going to keep right on writing. And whatever you put in here is going to stay in here. Because when I first bought this thing, it had a file from years ago that the last student that used it put in here. There were no batteries, there was nothing to keep it going, but the files live. They live past the life of the batteries. This is RAM memory, so it's saved there permanently. So I've heard other people concerned about deleting files in some of the reviews, and when you delete something, you have to first turn it on, then open the file that you want to delete, then hit delete, and then hit Y for yes or N for no. So there's a lot of things to hit before it's going to delete that file. So it's pretty hard to mess things up. But if you're worried about that, you can go to the settings, and there's a 2-button activation fee, so you're not going to turn it on accidentally if you have it in a backpack or it's something where the space is closed and it might press against it. Like I said, I've never had any issues with this, but there are safeguards. I've also heard some people say that the keyboard isn't all that responsive. I think it's very responsive. It's not exactly a mechanical keyboard, but it's pretty clacky. So it's very comfortable to type on. It has the scalloped edges that fit your finger. So it's a very comfortable, very good typing experience in my opinion. And I've used a lot of keyboards. So let's get on with the practical demonstration. I first want to say that when you plug this into your computer, I didn't get a cable to connect it with this, but when I looked at the connections, it's the same connection that your printer cable uses. So I got my printer cable and I hooked it up, and when you open a document, that's how you transfer it. You open a document in your word processor, whatever file you want to save it in. Get the cursor blinking at the point you want to save it, because if you have a whole manuscript there, you put it at the end for a new chapter, a new scene, and then you just hit send. I have used this with an iPad Pro using the Lightning to USB adapter, and it worked fine. So you can use it with tablets as long as you have a USB connection and enough power to support it. You're golden. So today we're going to try something. I have here an iPad 2, which is a few years old. I've never hooked it up to this, but I wanted to see if it would actually work on an older tablet. So we're going to see if this thing performs and exactly how it performs. So here's my printer cable. It's one that fits most printers. It's a USB 2.0, A male to B male. And the connection is really simple. You hook it up to the back of your Neo. Turn it on. Select the file that you want. Then hook the other end up to whatever tablet or word processor you're using. Have the document open that you want to transfer the file into, and then you simply hit send. And it starts printing it right out. How cool is that? In summation, on distraction-free writing, I think that we're probably as distracted or undistracted as we want ourselves to be, because even if we take a device like this to avoid the distraction of the internet, are we honestly going to leave our smartphones behind? It's going to delay us a second or two to reach in our pocket and pull out our phone and check our email or the internet or whatever. Does this help? I think after using it a while it does, for various reasons. This little window here displays only 3 lines of your text at a time. For me, one of the distractions in looking at a page, when I finish it or if I pause to think, I'm looking at it, and then I start mentally editing. If you only have 3 lines, granted you can scroll back and forth on this, but it's easier. You're only seeing what you've just written. So that part of it is less distracting. Also, if you sit down and you think, this is a distraction-free writing device, I'm having a distraction-free writing period, you kind of set yourself up mentally to not be as distracted easily. So life is built on how we program ourselves. And if we program ourselves and we use a device like this, then yes, it can definitely help. Secondly, if there's no wireless, no internet, say you want to go out hiking and you want to write your masterpiece along a mountain stream, or go to a cabin in the woods where it's just nothing between you and the bees and the bears but your writing, then this would work great, because you don't need an internet signal, you don't need anything. The battery is going to go on, and you can just write till your heart's content. So there are uses for this. And getting back to the free writer, $500. This is so much cheaper, and it essentially does the same thing. Do I still want a free writer? Yeah, I kind of do, because there's a market. I mean, I love keyboards, I love gadgets, and it kind of hits me on two different points. And I think that's where people that invent things like this, they'll always find their market, because of people like me and probably people like you. But at the same time, the price tag can be a little inhibitive. In fairness, I don't have a free writer here to do a comparison and give you all the points. Eventually, I probably will. Meantime, I appreciate all of you guys sticking around. I also invested a little bit of money in a better lighting system to give you guys some better videos, because I'm kind of changing color on the screen from time to time. The package arrived a little while ago while I was making this video that has the lighting equipment, and I'm going to start the unboxing video as soon as I finish up here, and that'll be up in a day or two. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, keep marching towards your dreams. Nothing can stop you. And next time, I'll see you right here, same time, same channel, where we'll make our dreams come true together on the Story Detective.